Hello everyone, Larry Satchwell here. Rain outside, and I haven't done a woodworking project in a while, and I'm getting kind of anxious to do one. This flag has some history here. Earlier this year, Chelsea and Ben celebrated their 10th wedding anniversary, and it's wood, so Chelsea asked me to make them an American flag. Well, I had never made one before. She wanted a wavy one. I looked on the internet. There's 1,000 people making flags on the internet. I didn't like the kind that had a pattern in it, so I hand carved this one. But I really struggled when it came to making the stars. So I chopped it up, I started over, and struggled again making the stars. And I'm still not happy with it. I just don't like the way it looks, so I didn't give them this one. Instead, I started completely over and made a new one. I know that's a long story, but here's what's going to happen to this one. On June 22nd, 2024, Ben's in a motorcycle club, and they're going to ride for the fallen. And they're doing an auction, silent auction, and all the proceeds go to Got You Covered Blankets organization. And they don't know I'm doing this, but I'd like to redo this one once again and present it to them so they can put it in their silent auction. Go to the table saw. I got them all cut down to 1 1/4. One of them is like less than a 32nd off, but that's okay. I wasn't able to save 2 of them. These like sacrificial, I just kept getting because of that 1/8 inch saw blade. So I've cut 2 more new ones, and I've marked them. Got to be careful. I can't cut exactly on this line, but I'm going to go over to the bandsaw now and cut these to save me some trouble. Well, I've brought the operation outside here to my bench under the cover here. It's been raining off and on all day. I'm going to use this Arbortech turbo plane. Please don't use those chainsaw blades. Those are so dangerous. With this, you've got a lot of control. I've got a lot of wood to move here, so this is the most efficient tool for that. Well, that made really quick work of that. Unplugged. I have a new tool I haven't used before. This is a cut saw. I have the rough one, the coarse one. This is the fine. Well, that last tool left some pretty good marks. So I've got this 6-inch Polisher's disc sander. It's got 36 grit sandpaper on it, and that's what I'm going to use to smooth most of this out with. Well, I'm pretty happy with the results. I think think I may want to carve some more. I'll put the union on here. I need to cut back my sacrificials a little bit. I've got a pretty good groove over here I need to fix, but I think I need a smaller sander for that. But I think when I put the union on here, I may want to carve a little bit. I'd like to keep the union relatively flat just because it's a lot easier to put the stars on than to carve. But I think I'm out of proportion now because the union used to come out here and now it's going to come out here. Well, I spent a few more minutes carving here and I'm pretty happy with what I've got going. So it's ready to start sanding. I've got to get these deep cuts out of here. I'm going to put this nice cushiony I don't know, sanding pad, I guess, and some 40 grit sandpaper to start with. Gotta get most of this rough stuff out. Well, I have sanded it down to 80 grit using a bunch of different stuff. This is 80 grit mop. This is 60 grit actually. I had a few rough spots. I've used this. But at this point, I think I'm ready to wet it down. I want to wet it down. This will give me an idea of what's going to look like with a clear coat on it. And it's also going to let me know if I have any glaring spots that I've missed. Because you can look at this thing 100 times and you think you've got it all. And then you step away or change grits and all of a sudden you see a spot that you totally missed. And I'm going to be burning this next. So I've seen this done, you know, there are hundreds of these on the YouTube channels, and I've seen it done two different ways. One, the people take the individual sticks and they burn them individually, or they burn the whole thing at the same time. Some are heavily burned and distressed, and others not so much. And after that decision is made, I then have to decide, am I going to leave the white stripes natural wood or paint them white? And not sure you can see it. I can certainly see it right here. It's a spot I've missed. I'm going to burn it as a unit, but the union goes right here, upside down and backwards. There it goes. What I want to do is I want to pick each stripe up. This my clamps a little bit more. And I just want to define the inside edge. I'm not going to do a lot. I could use a round over bit or something. But I just want to distinguish the inside edge and give the a little more separation here. I guess I don't need this one at this point. I don't want to distress the union part though. I want that to look pretty solid. So I just have a little piece of 80 grit sandpaper. I'm just giving the edge a little bit of a round over. And when I burn this, it's going to look quite a bit different. So you can see I didn't get quite even everywhere. I just want to try to get this smoke, I want to try to get the grain even here. And I can sand it. I will sand it once I get it all burnt. Well, as you can see, I've brought everything inside. I've got my union here. And since this is a auction fundraiser for the fallen, I'm going to make this a flag for the fallen. So I'll be using black and white and a blue stripe here. I saw a lot of people on YouTube use razor blades. I tried that on Ben's and I really didn't like the color. I didn't like that mark there. I'm going to be using frog tape, and I need to separate 3 white stripes right here from the black. So this will be a white. Get my union back here where it belongs. That'll be a white. On Ben's, I just pressed this frog tape down really, really tight. And I'll do the black first. Minwax makes a stain called True Black, and I've used it before. It really is dark. And I'm not sure I want to use it full strength. I don't think I want this to soak in very much. Get a little thick paint thinner here. That's too much. I'm going to try put a thin coat of paint thinner on it first. And then we'll go with the black. Not sure I like that either. For this blue, it's I'm going to use Hyper Blue from Sherwin-Williams. He just shook it up, so I'm going to do that right now. It was really hard to find a blue. I'm hoping this will work. It is paint though, it's not stain. And I sanded most of the char off of this one so that that blue would really pop. Right now it's popping. And this is a satin finish on this blue. I'm going to be putting probably a satin finish over the whole flag. So I've got 3 more blacks below the union. So I'm going to let this dry before I start messing with the white. Well, it's time for some glue up. I came down late yesterday and didn't film this. This is Minwax Color Wash. It's white, and I think it's going to help this black pop. So I'm going to glue up half of this at a time. Well, it's 13 stripes, so you can't glue up half, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got the union here. And I'm just doing that because it's a lot easier to get things lined up and tight. I think that's lined up pretty good. So I think I'm ready to start carving. I've already given this a coat, several coats of finish. There are some tricky ones in here. These that split the stripes are a little more difficult to do than the ones that are in the open like this. These are the tools I'm going to be using. It's a little flat chisel here, a little flex cut, a nice sharp carving knife, and I've got a couple of other X-Actos. I keep a strop nearby and strop it about every 3 or 4 stars. I've gone over all the stars and indented each line. So now it's easiest if you can maneuver the flag around, change it with different angles. What I like to do is just come in and grab a little bit of the grain. I'm not trying to go very deep. And just chip it out. That's where this flex knife comes in really handy. You can get right up into the star point and chip it out. So I get what I can, and then I change the angle. Being careful not to go too deep. All I want to do is remove enough wood to expose the wood that hasn't been burnt. And try to make them as consistent as possible. But with the different growth rings here, the hard and the soft growth rings, it's really hard. But take your time. I'm going to turn the camera off and turn on some music and chip away. So with the stars finished and this side pretty well finished, I need to put another coat of paint on here, another coat of clear varnish. I'm going to turn my attention to the back and flatten. To give this some depth, I'm going to go within 1/4 of an inch of the profile here. And for that, I'm going to use my Kutzall coarse. It'll go back in here 1 inch or 2, 1.5 inches, something like that. So that makes quick work of it. Once I get it down to this file, I can bring it back some. I'm going to come back in here after I'm all finished and sand off the edge and paint it black.